Hello, everybody. So today's case is incredibly sad. It does involve the murder of a young teenager, and this case is actually very, very recent. I think it happened around Christmas of 2023, I believe. And I first heard about this case not from like the news or anything. I heard it on Crime Weekly News, the podcast here on YouTube. And when I heard them talk about it, I just knew I also had to talk about it. It is just so, so sad about what happened to this young girl. And that's what we're going to be doing today. We're going to be talking about the case of Lizbeth Medina. All the links that I used to research will be down below, like always. And let's get in this and let me tell you about Lizbeth. So, Lizbeth Medina, who was a 16-year-old cheerleader from Edna, Texas, which is a small town of about 6,000 people that's about 100 miles southwest of Houston, she was murdered in her home. She is described as a bubbly, happy girl, and her mom says that she was her friend. It was December 5th when her mom, Jacqueline Medina, found her daughter dead in the bathtub. She said she knew something was wrong when her daughter didn't show up to the town's lighted Christmas parade where she was supposed to perform with her cheer squad. When she didn't show, she rushed home to the tragic scene. She called the police, and first responders tried to give Lizbeth some life-saving help, but she was pronounced dead at the scene. Jacqueline says that weeks prior to the murder, their apartment had been broken into, and she was wondering if this was the same case again, and Lizbeth just happened to be home. So Lizbeth had stab wounds, including at least one to her abdomen, and she was soaking wet, which led investigators to believe that her body had been washed of evidence after her death. A preliminary autopsy report on December 8th, 2023, said her cause of death was, quote, sharp force injuries, and police said that items were missing from the apartment, like her phone and wallet. The community held a vigil for her at the Jackson County Courthouse in Edna on December 9th. After 6 p.m. that evening, Lizbeth's friend said that she texted her deceased friend's phone and received a reply. And you're probably thinking, why did she do that? Well, if you've ever lost somebody and you're grappling with the death, I did this when I lost somebody. You text their phone, kind of in a way hoping you kind of want them to respond, knowing that they won't. It's kind of like you're just giving a final goodbye in a way. And this was on the night of her vigil, and she did receive a reply. And Elizabeth's boyfriend also said that he received a reply to a text that he sent to her phone that day as well, which is so incredibly creepy. You're messaging your dead friend only for someone to message back. Oh my god. Investigators were concerned about her killer texting her peers, believing the public to be in danger due to the stalking type of behavior that this killer was showing. Police quickly found the location of the phone through the cellular carrier, and it led them to a mobile home park in Schulenburg, where Rafael Govea Romero lived. They arrived to the residence on December 9th, so literally the same night as the vigil. They tell police about the texts they're getting, and they are on it, which good for them. So they arrived to the residence on December 9th, and they found him at the home, and in an affidavit, numerous items were found in his bedroom that belonged to Lizbeth, which connected him to her murder. So Edna Chief Police Rick Boone said that Raphael, who was 23 years old at the time, he confessed the next day to the murder, and Raphael had entered the country legally in 2018 on a visa, but it had since expired at an unspecified date, giving him an undocumented status. And I just want to stop right here. I don't want to hear any shit below about immigrants and people coming to the country illegally and blah 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 and any racist jargon. I don't want to fucking hear it. This case is not an excuse to just shit on people that have come here illegally. I don't care what your beliefs are, I don't want to hear it. This case is about Lizbeth, not Raphael. I don't want to hear it. So I'm just putting that out there right now. So he did have an undocumented status. He also has at least one other criminal charge. On April 5th, and I do want to say that I wasn't sure what that criminal charge was. I just know that he has at least one other. On April 5th, he pleaded no contest to a Fayette County burglary of I'm so sorry. Let me go look at my notes because I just completely scrambled my words just then. I actually misspoke. There is information on this charge. I was looking at the wrong paragraph in my script. So yes, we do know the charge. And on April 5th, so the same year, he pleaded no contest to a Fayette County burglary of habitation charge, a second-degree felony. I'm so sorry. I don't know why that was so hard for me to say. In September 2022, he stole several items from a man's home, and he received 5 months probation and fines. So going back to the case of Lizbeth, police says he was showing stalking behavior before he committed this crime. Police say in an affidavit that they believe he made previous visits to her apartment and exhibited stalking-like behavior. Surveillance video from her neighbor led police to believe that he actually drove through the apartment's parking lot the night before her death. And I was able to find a couple photos of the surveillance footage, and I will have that on the screen for you. Prior to his arrest, police released photos in the early morning hours of December 9th, which are now known to be him, and the photos from the surveillance show him leaving the scene the morning of her death on December 5th. He appears to enter a silver Ford Taurus and flees. So, inspection of the same neighbor's recording led police to believe the same car drove through the apartments around 10 p.m. on December 4th. Lizbeth's family says that they don't recognize Raphael, and police are trying to figure out if the two had a connection of some sort. As of right now, I was not able to find that they did, so it seems like maybe it was kind of random in a way. Raphael was placed under arrest, and he is being charged with capital murder and was granted a $2 million bond. Police have yet to release any more information. So obviously this is so recent that he hasn't went to trial or anything like that. We just know that he's being charged with capital murder. And honestly, he deserves it after what he did to Lizbeth. So my thoughts on this case is whether or not if they had any prior, they knew each other prior or any other prior connection. I kind of don't think they did. It kind of feels like maybe he might have just seen her out somewhere somehow. Maybe he saw her on social media and he just got obsessed with her and started following her around. We don't know if before this, if Lizbeth had noticed anybody following her or any weird behavior from people, and if she had, we don't know about it. So for that reason, I don't think she knew about him. But there is always the chance that they might have known each other in passing. They weren't super far in age, but enough that it is really weird if they did. But with that being said, we don't know anything yet, but this is definitely a case that I'm going to keep you guys updated on. It is so heartbreaking that this man just broke into her house and did this to her. I can't imagine how terrified she must have been. And oh my gosh, poor Jacqueline. Just having that gut feeling that there is something wrong with your child. So you run home and you find your child murdered in your bathtub. I can't imagine it. I don't want to know what that feels like. But my heart is just hurting for her. I really hope that Jacqueline and the rest of the family, they get the justice that they are seeking for Lizbeth, and that this creep, this piece of shit of a man, gets put away for a very long time. Capital murder is obviously a very serious charge, and it's one that I think he deserves. But with that being said, that is all I have for you guys on the case of Lizbeth Medina. I will update you guys as I can, and thank you so much for listening to her story. Let me know your thoughts down below. Please no racist jargon, or you will just be banned from this channel. And I will see you guys in another video very soon. Bye, guys.